let's talk a bit about Rupa Huq, because that, as you said, that was the kind of unguarded, not on message moment. But that is what the identitarians think, isn't it? That if you're black or you're brown, you can't deviate from their ideas.
No, the Rupa Huq thing was interesting, I think, because what you're seeing is someone trying and failing to mouth a kind of edgy identitarian platitude without really properly being able to back it up, and someone barreling into that particular argument without realising how ugly and genuinely quite racist that kind of ideology is. I think it was a demonstration of how this is the form of like anti-black or anti-brown racism, which still passes the dinner party test.
Yeah.
And I think you saw that with Rupa Huq. She's at this fringe meeting. It was unfortunately titled something like "What Next for Labour's Agenda on Race." Kwasi Kwarteng comes up and she launches into this tirade about, he's superficially black, but you hear him on the Today programme and you wouldn't know that he was black because he, he went to Eton, I think, and, he's quite well off, which is interesting. I mean, Rupa Huq went to a very nice West London private school. Does that make her superficially Asian? I don't know. But there's also this point of, you ask the question, would he be more authentically black if he was less affluent? Would he be more authentically black if he didn't speak the Queen's English, or the King's English, we should probably say, in the way that he did? This is a really ugly way to talk about things. It does kind of imply that if you're not of a particular stereotypical background, politically as well as socially and economically, that you're not genuine black person or whatever. Yeah. It's really quite ugly. And as that superficially black thing, it is just the polite way of calling someone a coconut, effectively. And if this was a one-off, you'd dismiss it as like a weird tangent someone went off on. But of course, we see this time and time again whenever there's a new fabulously diverse Tory cabinet that gets announced that everyone gets excited about. There's always that kind of tirade of these people are tokens, they're agents of white supremacy, they're turncoats of colour, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just that kind of sense of, as soon as you stray from the scripts, then you're a fake or you're a backstabber. It's really, really ugly, but it's entirely mainstream. And I think it nods to the fact that when we're talking about what in mainstream public life is sort of rehabilitating a sense of racial essentialism, racial difference, racial stereotypes, it's in this woke form of it. That's how it's kind of getting it's mainlined at this point, definitely.
I guess in the sort of woke worldview where everything is racialized, it's impossible to see people as individuals. So you have to see,
That's the thing. It's so easy to talk about actually what she was sort of trying to gesture at in a terrible way without being, as Tom says, racist. I mean, we do it all the time. We say what the ideas, political ideas you have in your head, or your aspirations, or what you do with your life should have as little to do with the color of your skin, your sex, your whatever, your immutable fact of your identity as possible. And not all black people are the same, and not all women are the same. And even we should, like, saying things like we shouldn't see color anymore. We shouldn't discriminate on the basis of sex, but that's not on in the world of identity politics. That's racist in the world of identity politics. So instead of making a point about saying, I think most of us know that Kwasi Kwarteng probably doesn't speak for the entirety of the black community in the same way that no one thinks that. In the same way that no one thinks that Rupa Huq speaks for all women. But
Liz Truss speaks for all white people.
but yet they can't let go of this narrative. So they hamstring themselves all the time because they cling on to the idea that you need to have representation, that you need to follow the identity politics slogan. But then when repeatedly people come along, particularly in the Conservative Party with its sort of very awkwardly diverse cabinet now, and disprove their own theory, rather than just giving up and saying, okay, we were wrong, they dig their heels in, and it ends up in this, as Tom says, incredibly ugly discourse.